What's up guys, my name is Jellycut5 and welcome to the review where Chelsea managed to get a first win in 2025 in the league as we cruise to a 3-1 victory against Wolverhampton. Before we do get into this review, if you haven't done so already, please hit that like button, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and don't forget to hit that notification button so you never miss a video. So yes, Chelsea are finally back to winning ways after a 3-1 victory. I have to say that I'm very relieved because I was not confident in any means. As much as I actually did predict a 3-1 score, I still believe that a lot of Chelsea fans were very nervy to the fact of the recent performances. Chelsea started very fast. It was quite clear to see that we've been able to start games really well, in fairness, and create a few opportunities here and there. A lot of pressing, a lot of movement, a lot of moments where we was able to kind of get behind the Wolves defence and really trying to push. Wolves didn't really create anything within the first 30 minutes, and then in the 24th minute, up stepped Tosin Adebayo from the corner, and we managed to get our first goal. It was originally disallowed for offside, but VAR was able to go back into it and be able to give ourselves a goal. We kind of dropped out from there, and do you know what? That's the worrying factor about our game. In fairness, we seem to drop out really a lot when we just seem to score. I don't know why. I mean, the stats overall, I'll just go into that quickly. 63% possession to their 37, 19 shots compared to their 9, 7 compared to their 4 on target, and 559 passes compared to their 329. As I mentioned, we just seem to drop off after we score. We don't really seem to be able to keep up the momentum or the urgency to be able to push on and really build on the lead that we've created. And unfortunately, we did kind of that just come back to bite us, and we just don't seem to be able to kind of keep a clean sheet. We just never can. I just always find ourselves conceding whoever we seem to face. Up stepped Matt Doherty, and he was able to get his goal after a corner was whipped into the area, and Robert Sanchez, of all people, making a huge mistake. I know a lot of people have jumped on Sanchez, and I for one have done so, and I praised him at times, but I think it's quite clear to see he's not good enough. There's been enough games. I think he's featured enough times for Chelsea to really kind of give us that sort of overall decision if he is or isn't good enough, and the answer is he's not. He's just not good enough, and we were lucky to be able to kind of make ourselves better in the second half to be able to kind of get away from the result, because if it did stay 1-1 then we would be putting all the blame on Robert Sanchez. Into the second half we went, and up stepped Mark Cucurella, a lovely ball from Kieran Dewsbury-Hall, who I must say fitted into the squad quite nicely, in fairness. Hasn't had at much game time whatsoever, was his first start in the Premier League for Chelsea, bearing in mind that it's taken till January to do so. For a player to be injured for the amount of time that he is, and for a player that hasn't really been able to kind of suit the style of play or either get into the side and be able to come in and get an assist, it was really good of him to be there. Cucurella wasn't having the best of games up till that point, but a very good, well taken goal, and he managed to get himself a second goal in the league, I'm pretty sure. 3 goals overall in all competitions, but yeah, 2 goals in the league, so he's doing pretty well for himself. He seems to throw himself at any opportunity in terms of going forward, and he really puts himself in the good positions. To hats off to Mark Cucurella. And in 65th minute, I'm not going to give him the praise because it shouldn't have been his goal. And only Madueke kind of nabbed Trevor Chalobah's goal after a ball was whipped into the area. Chalobah got the assist for it, and I have to say it is so refreshing to see that man back in our back four. I think it goes to prove all the doubters in Chelsea kind of hierarchy and so on that he was always good enough, and I don't know what they were chatting about for him to be on loan to Crystal Palace. Trevor's an absolute monster, and the fans really kind of showed that today as well by kind of singing his name throughout the 90. He was superb, absolutely superb. Man of the match performance today. There was just no knocking him whatsoever, and a really top performance. After that, we kind of dropped off. We had another chance where Nicholas Jackson scored an offside goal, but that was all she wrote. In fairness, a solid performance overall in terms of the scoreline and everything else. There's improvement made, but improvement needed, if that makes any sense. And kind of onwards and upwards, and hopefully we can kind of build on that, knowing that we have kind of passed the voodoo of not winning in the last 5 or so games. This was the lineup that we did field against Wolverhampton Wanderers, starting at the bottom. Robert Sanchez, 6.0. Made a few saves, but he's just not good enough. He really isn't. His distribution, once again, I don't think there's a game that goes by where he doesn't kind of misplace the ball. And even if he doesn't, he makes it look really edgy at the same time. He's nowhere near the quality that we need of a goalkeeper. We need to be, if we want to play that sort of style of football, we need to be someone that has a better distribution and someone that's able to kind of take the game a little bit better and be able to kind of go with it and really kind of prove himself and between the sticks. And we just don't have that at this moment in time. So I can only realistically give him a 6.0, and I don't know where we go from here. Do we play Jorgensen next match? I don't know. Is he any good? It's so hard to decide, but we'll let that kind of be the choice of Enzo Maresca, because I could only thought he'd have questions to be answered after the poor mistake that he did make for that corner, literally dropping a routine catch, which was really, really frustrating in fairness. Reece James on the right hand side, 7.6. Thought he was superb today in fairness. Battled hard, winning some real key tackles. Came through the game really well and felt like he played a good amount of minutes to be able to come back from injury. Goes to show that we've been missing him a lot on that right hand side, and I thought he was absolutely superb. Really, really solid. Offered us a lot. A few chances where he was going forward and then a few shots blocked that could have been different if they weren't to have been. Thought overall he was pretty good. Tosin, a goal for himself. Seems to be that he's doing well in terms of scoring. He was booked in the aftermath of the leveller against Wolves, but that was probably about it. It was a coolly slotted finish, and he knew he wasn't offside, and fair play to him because he wasn't. Really good in terms of his interceptions and his ball recoveries and being able to kind of partner in with Chalobah, a partnership that we obviously haven't seen this season. So fair play to him for slotting in. He doesn't exactly get the most of the game time. I'm not a massive advocate for his kind of player performances, but if he can put in things like that, then I'm not bothered whatsoever, and a fair play to him. Trevor Chalobah, I can't say any more than what a man he is. He fitted in that back four like he's been playing in it for season after season. You have to give hats off to Trevor to be able to kind of be snubbed by the club and then come back into his boyhood club and say yes and prove his worth. If Chelsea decide to sell him at the end of the summer, then we're an absolute joke of a club, and there's no more to be said about that. But at the same time, this man is superb. There's nothing he can't do, and that's the funny thing about it. And I feel like if he were to have actually get a consistent run of games in the Premier League and really prove his worth, then there's no reason why he couldn't be in the England fold as well. He's absolutely sublime at the back. He just does everything that's needed. He's got the presence there. I mean, he was unlucky not really to nab the goal. Obviously, Nani Madueke getting the tap in when it was already going in. So many moments in time where Wolves were attacking us, and he was able to kind of put his body across, get some blocks in, get some tackles in, just do what was needed. Everything was precise about his game, and nothing's dangerous about it whatsoever. Every time he's in the back four, you know he kind of steadies the ship, and he does really, really well. And hats off to Trevor today, a man of match performance. Really love to see it, and hopefully he can do that once again on the weekend. So an 8.6 for Trevor Chalobah. Moving forward to the left hand side, Marc Cucurella a 7.2. Poor first half, great second half. Simple as that. First half he had some misplaced passes, and he didn't really seem to be able to kind of create the inverted role as much as he would possibly like to do so. But in the second half, he made for that with a very good finish, and he did an all-round good performance in the second half. In the midfield, Moises Caicedo and Kieran Dewsbury-Hall, a pairing that looked to seem to be that we kind of have missed to a certain degree when we haven't had Fernandes or we've put in Lavia instead. I thought Dewsbury-Hall was absolutely brilliant, to be honest, and so was Caicedo. Really solid in the middle, a lot of interceptions, a lot of moment where they were throwing themselves at the kind of ball. They worked tirelessly to be able to win the ball back and really kind of defend in front of the back four, and I felt like they put a really good job up today. Faultless in my opinion, a few passes misplaced, but apart from that, and obviously Kieran Dewsbury-Hall got a lovely assist for Marc Cucurella's goal, so both getting a 7.2 rating. Moving forward to the attack, we had Pedro Neto facing his former side. He always works tirelessly to be able to kind of do something in that moment in time. Didn't really seem to be able to take his chance as much as we'd possibly like to do so. I think there's only a goal away from really kind of regaining his confidence. 6.9 for Neto today. It's hard to face his former side when you're constantly getting booed, but at the same time I did expect slightly better. Cole Palmer, didn't expect him to see him in the side today, but I felt like he did well. He did really well to force a good save from Jose Sa in the first half, and he always looked like he was providing an attacking threat to be able to kind of go deep, to be able to then go forward. If you watch Cole Palmer's individual performance as a player, you'll understand the amount of running that he actually does as an individual. It's unbelievable. Hats off to him, because he had so many times where he's getting kicked up in the air, and obviously he's carrying a knock at the same time. So 7.0 for Cole, and the save for Noni Madueke. I think the goal kind of covers over the cracks of how poor he actually was today. A lot of people won't see that, and a lot of people will just hype on, oh, he scored against Wolves again. Look, he hates Wolves. It's not the case. He just what I personally don't think he's good enough. If you watch Noni Madueke from minute 1 to minute 90, then you might understand why. Because every time he loses the ball, he has a go at his players. Every time he seems to be able to take a man on, it's never successful. Every time he whips a ball in, it's never good enough. I don't really seem to find out what he really did in that moment in time. Yeah, it's difficult to really say in that moment, but yeah, I'm kind of it's one of those. I think he's got the talent there, but it's just kind of getting it out of him, and it's just whether he's got the attitude to be able to kind of go on further forward. But we shall see. I know there's obviously been problems in the past with Enzo Maresca and Noni Madueke, but still a 7.0. He still scored the goal at the end of the day, and he kind of worked hard a little bit more in the second half compared to what he did in the first, so can't really fault him for that. Nicholas Jackson, 6.5. Felt like he ran in behind quite well at moments, but I felt like he's just too lazy. One moment he's rejuvenated a little of energy to be able to kind of go forward and run at the goalkeeper, and next minute he's just walking around. There was one moment where he looked to win the ball back in a real good position, and he got himself forward, he lost out the ball, and he just sat on the floor. I'm not too sure what's happened with Jackson recently, because he hasn't scored since Brentford, which is quite worrying for a striker. So I'm hoping that will kind of change in time, because we need him to be able to get his firing, kind of shooting boots on. Otherwise we should realistically be looking at a replacement, because if he isn't able to kind of get the goals that we needed for a consistent amount of time in the season, then we need someone to compete with him, at least himself in the squad and someone else. So it's a positives. There's many positives to take. I think there's negatives within it, but we won't dwell on them too much. At the end of the day, a win is a win. We're able to get ourselves back into top four with a massive game now on the weekend against Manchester City, which I'm not really looking forward to, in fairness. We always do really poorly at the Etihad. Obviously last time out we managed to get a draw, and it's something that I would take. I just can't really see it, but then my preview will come out for that on Friday. Stay tuned for that one, but until then, that is it for this particular review. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. Please like and subscribe for more content, and don't forget to hit that notification button so you never miss a video. Cheers.